Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. So, we are going to dig into lesson number 3 today. And so, what's the lesson? Well, today I wanted to talk to you about recognizing the potential source of your current storm. I know that's a deep topic. So, what prompted that for me this week is last week I told you that I had some disappointments that I had to deal with and make sure that it didn't get into my heart. And so this week, I wanted to really look at um, responses and how that shows up for me, for you, for the world. And so, what I noted through my work as a therapist and noted through my work as an HR professional and through my work as a coach, trainer, and a speaker is that there's a common thread that keeps showing up, or a series of threads that keep showing up for people when we find ourselves in difficult situations, what most of us call storms or chaos, the chaos of life. Whatever verbiage you use, it is applicable to really look at the source of those things. And so I've dwindled it down. Again, this is Lillian's perspective, not saying I'm an expert. However, I would think 30 years or so in the human resources business and coaching and training and speaking. Yeah, and as a therapist, yeah, I have some insights. So I wanted to share that with you guys because I promised I would try to add value to you every week with something that is either prevalent in the marketplace or something that I've experienced and learned, maybe the hard way sometimes. And so, what potential sources are there? So, I'm glad you asked. The first one is source number one: the storm is in you. Lillian, what are you talking about? The storm is in me. So, sometimes when things happen, we internalize it and we will unravel ourselves through anxiety, depression, worry, fear, whatever those emotions that show up for you, you internalize it and you make it yours. And you will lose your balance, so to speak, in the things of life because you've internalized all of the things that are happening around you. So that's what I mean by that first source is you let it get in you, it disrupts your life. It causes just so much just internal turmoil that you can't get past it, you can't get through it, and sometimes you just want to give up. I'm sure you're familiar with, at least I am, letting the storm like really get in me. And so, what's another source you ask me? Source number two. Glad you asked. You are the storm. What do I mean by that? When I say that you are the storm, this means you externalize everything that you're going through. You rant, you rave, you curse, you break things. You are a tyrant in your world, although you don't realize it. You walk about wounding people with your words and your actions. And so you are now the storm that you find yourself in. But you find yourself often asking those questions, why is this always happening to me? And you don't realize the part that you play in it. So that's what I mean by you are the storm. What's the other potential source? I'm glad you asked. So the other potential source is you are simply in the storm. What do I mean by that? So when you are in the storm, it means that it's things outside of your control. You had nothing to do with it. A good example for people who are parents, you might have a child that wrecked the car. That's a storm. Why? Because maybe the other person didn't have insurance or whatever. And so now you're shuffling and you're trying to figure out and problem solve how to get through this, how not to be upset with your teenager because maybe they were distracted driving, whatever the case may be. It's something that was outside of your control, but now you find yourself having to deal with it. That is when you are in the storm, simply in the storm, because of the actions of others, things that are outside of your control. And so instead of you lashing out or internalizing, you simply move into problem solving mode. And so you will figure out the solutions, the how, the what, the when, the where, and how to get things done. My favorite example of this, For those of you that know me, I'm a person of faith. But my favorite example of this is when Jesus was in the boat with his disciples. And it tells us that a storm came and that the boat was taking on water. So I I chuckle because the disciples were like, "Oh my goodness." And so they were running around like, "Don't you care that we perish?" Jesus was this number three. He was simply in the storm. The storm didn't get in him, and he wasn't the storm. However, he found internal peace enough to be asleep on the boat while the boat was taking on water. Think about that. You sleep on a boat, the boat taking on water, and everything around you is raging and blowing, and water's. So you couldn't have been dry if the boat was taking on water. And so that source simply means that I acknowledge there's a storm going on. What you want me to do about it? I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be peaceful about the thing, and I'm going to journey through it. But what happens is sometimes we don't even look at it from that point of view. Sometimes when we see a storm, the storm is the storm, and we respond accordingly to however we have been wired over the years. We respond in that way. And so I wanted to give you some steps to surviving and thriving in the midst of the storm. All right, so surviving and thriving in the midst of the storm. Number one, examine how you show up in your current storm. Are you internalizing it? Are you externalizing it? Or are you figuring out the solutions? And in examining how you show up in your storm, it's really important to ask yourself, what is it that I want to accomplish in this? And wait for a response. If you want to just be erratic, be erratic. If you want to be calm and maintain your peace, maintain your peace. Because that is your choice. And the beautiful thing is you may not respond in one or two, you may be a three. But when you are a one or a two, there are ways to shift. So examine it, figure out which way you show up in a storm, right? And then number two, determine how you want to show up in the current storm. How do you want to show up? Do you want to maintain your peace? I hear people ask me all the time, Lillian, you're always so calm. Why are you always so calm? Because I get a choice, right? And so I make sure that I'm assessing what's my stuff. Like what can I control and what's not my stuff? What's the other person's stuff? And do I need to respond to that? If the other person's stuff is across the street, it has nothing to do with me. If the other person's stuff is on my toe, then I have a choice on how I'm going to respond to that, because now it's impeding on my comfort level, right? And so there's a response that's required with that. But if it's the other person's stuff, I can have compassion for them. I can be empathetic for their situation, but I don't have to take it on and own it and let it unravel me. And so that's the importance of determining how you want to show up in your current storm, whether it's your child's storm, your parent's storm, your, like people picking on you at work, whatever the storm is that you're faced in life, you have to determine how you want to show up in that storm. And what do you want to be known for in that storm? Do you want to be known for, man, she always tripping, or he's always just ranting and raving? Does he ever get quiet? Does he ever listen? Does she ever? Or, I didn't even realize it was that bad for that person, because they never showed it. They were just calm and collected, and they moved through the circumstances. They moved through the storm, what seemed like effortlessly to onlookers. But in and of yourself, oh wait, this is some heavy lifting. And again, I'm a person of faith. I say, okay, Jesus, you're gonna have to help your daughter, because I really want to be 1 and 2 right now. I really want to be a rager, and I really want to be an internalizer, because if I rage, I'm gonna hurt somebody or hurt myself. And if I internalize, I'm gonna hurt myself and then be miserable, right? I'm gonna hold on to that thing and walk around with it. So help me to hold my peace. How do I hold my peace? It takes work. I'm not saying this is an easy feat. It takes time and effort, and you have to commit it to muscle memory. You have to practice it often examining who you are in a storm, and then determine who you want to be in a storm. The third thing is that you can do to surviving and thriving in the midst of a storm is find tools and resources that will help you align with your desired posture in your storm. If you need to reach out to a friend, phone a friend, right? If you need to find a coach, a therapist, whatever it is you need to maintain yourself in the storm, it might be breathing exercises. It doesn't have to always be an external thing. It can be something that you can do within yourself to help you rebalance and recalibrate and assess what is required of you really in the storm. Some storms just require time and patience. Is your storm asking you to be patient? Is your storm asking you to just be still? What is your storm requiring of you in this moment? Is it requiring you to be a better listener? This is part of really searching out who you want to be in the storm. And then the other one that you can do is tell someone about your desired outcome to establish accountability for your transformation. If you don't tell someone that you want to maintain your patience in the storm, then they're not going to know to say, hey, how you doing with that? How can I support you with that? And it is easier when you have someone in your corner that can say, girl or man, take a deep breath, right? But if they don't know that that's the path you're on, they're going to let you do the same old, same old. They're like, oh, you're just being you, and they'll let you be the old you. But if you've decided that I don't want to be the old me, I really want to maintain my peace in all things. Yes, I'll be uncomfortable. Yes, I'll get upset. Yes, my feelings will be hurt. But I don't want to surrender my internal peace in this storm that I find myself in today. And so I'm going to encourage you with number 5. Be kind to yourself during this process. Rome was not built in a day, and you did not get here overnight. You did not become the reactive person that you are overnight. You did not become the internalizer overnight. You became that way event after event, storm after storm. And so when you decide that you are going to make a shift, it's important to have people in your corner that are going to help you to stay focused, encourage you to keep doing it, and gives you permission to be a learner of this new path that you're taking for yourself. And so be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. It is not something that you will do in a blink of an eye. Because if it was able to be done that way, everyone would do it. And we would have a lot calmer world. But the reality of the thing is that we don't have a world of calm people. We have a world filled with people who externalize or internalize. And so we have depression run rampant. We have wars and rumors of wars all over the place. And we are sitting here trying to figure out, how can we be unified as a world? How can we be unified as a human species? But the root of the thing is that we are not going to be able to find that place, that median ground, until people can recognize internal peace. Most people will blame someone else or something for the storms in their life when sometimes they are the storm. And likewise, some people will sit in despair because they've taken on everything that wasn't even theirs to carry. And so you have to recognize and ask yourself, what is my motivation for engaging this storm? What is my motivation for engaging this present storm? And what does the storm require of me? What muscle is it building in me? Those are valuable, valuable questions for you to recognize. And note that you are not powerless in a storm. You just have to recognize which type of storm you're dealing with. And so I want to encourage you that You have everything you need if you just take a moment, stop, and assess how you are now and how you want to be and where the divide is. And then work on things that will help you get to where you really want to be in a storm or in what some people call a crisis or what some people call chaos, because it is all manageable in self. You cannot control anyone else, but you can control you. And so I maintain my patience and I maintain my peace because I recognize that when you're going through, I can still love you, but that's not mine to carry. I also recognize that when my feelings are hurt, it's my job to reconcile my feelings. It's not anyone else's job to get in there and do the work for me. And so I can't put that ownership on anyone else. And so own this process for yourself and recognize that you got it. You got it. And again, follow the steps. The steps are there to help you, to give you some tools, some insights on how to navigate this space of storms and how you show up in them and the way forward. And so I'm trying to get good at this whole live streaming and comments, and I see a couple comments. So thank you, Anita. I appreciate you, and thank you, Samantha. I am so excited and that you were able to pop in today. And with that being said, I wanted to let you know that next week I had a valuable friend of mine ask me about how do you determine what your values are. And so I am putting together something for next week to help you kind of navigate that space of values exploration. And so if you're interested in that, I'd love to hear it. And also, I have Lillian's lessons. I created a group for it within Facebook so that if you only want my lessons or you only want my love letters, there's a group for each of those. And then I'm opening up for discussion and questions. So if you have any questions that you want to ask me, again, just recognize that you can join either of those or both of those Facebook groups to do some further discussion and exploration. I hope that we'll get to have a deeper conversation on any of the topics I present in the lessons or any of the comments I make on the love letters, because my love letters are for you to encourage you and really to let you know that we are not alone in this life and that we can do this. And if we journey together and share our learned wisdoms, there's nothing that we can't accomplish. And so I want to encourage you to jump in and stay connected with me. So in staying connected, you can go to my website, lillianljackson.com, and follow me on social media. I have all of them listed on my website. And so I just want you to know that as we close out lesson 3, I want you to be encouraged in knowing that there's a lot of content that I have in my brain. If I get too deep, let me know. And also, if there's a specific topic that you would like me to address or share some pointers on, I have a wealth of knowledge in that too. And so just, again, I'm looking forward to just continuing to grow and journey with you. And I hope you'll check in every week for the lessons and then every day for the love letters, because that is really meant for me to just share my heart with you and keep us connected and keep us growing together and challenging one another to just be the best version of ourselves. And so I want to encourage you as you just venture out this afternoon or this evening, actually, to enjoy that extra sleep that you lost last night, that you got back tonight, and be blessed, be encouraged, and remember that I share from my heart, not just for myself, but I share from my heart because I want you to know that God equips me with what I know so I can share it with you, because he wants you to know his heart and that he loves you. And I want to say that I love you as well. I want the best for you, and I'm rooting for you in all things. God bless. Have a great night.